Hey everyone, so I want to talk about Im and that big straw hat. So first I'm going to talk about the straw hat, then I'm going to talk about Im, and then I'll try to put them together and see if we can make sense of these last few chapters. So I, like some others, believe that the straw hat isn't normally a straw hat. I think it's just currently in the shape of a straw hat, but this object's ability is to see the future and change its form to take the shape of whatever is going to be the greatest threat to its owner. So right now it's only in the shape of a straw hat because it predicts that Luffy is going to be the greatest threat. So why do I think this? Well, first let's talk about, what do we actually know about the straw hat? One, this is the national treasure of Mary Joas. Doflamingo talks about the national treasure of Mary Joas, the secret of Mary Joas back in chapter 761. And in chapter 906, he's talking about it again, and he's basically saying, hurry up and reveal it, and then cut to the hat. It would be honestly really shitty if Oda to show the straw hat like that if that's not what Doflamingo was talking about at the moment. It would kind of just be a cheap trick to confuse the reader, so, I'm assuming that this is the national treasure of Mary Joas. Next, we also know that the sheer fact of the existence of this treasure would shake the world to its foundations. Finally, if Doflamingo had access to both the Ope Ope no Mi and this treasure, he believes that the combination of those two would have given him the power to rule the world. So with this knowledge, let's cross off, what the straw hat is not. Let's say it's literally just a hat. Let's say it's the original straw hat or the hat of Joy Boy or whatever, like people have been guessing. Then that means it's just a symbol, right? If it's just a hat of someone from the ancient kingdom or something, then would its existence really shake the world to its foundations? I think that's a serious stretch. Like, sure, it's evidence of this ancient kingdom or whatever, but that means it's less significant than even a poneglyph, because poneglyphs are also evidence of the ancient kingdom, but they actually have information on them. So would this treasure give you the power to rule the world? If it's literally just a hat, then of course not. So it's not just a symbol, it's not literally just a hat, because that doesn't fit Doflamingo's prior descriptions of it. So then maybe the hat gives you special powers if you wear it. Maybe, but in that case, what's its connection to the Ope Ope no Mi? And more importantly, who the hell is going to wear it? Only giants can even put this on their head and have it fit. So short of Kaido and Big Mom, I don't know any character that would actually make use of this. Im definitely can't. So if the hat isn't a symbol, if the hat doesn't seem like it can actually be worn to give people power, then maybe it's not normally a hat. And maybe its power isn't that it's, a weapon that destroys all enemies, but rather it simply tells the owner who needs to be crushed before they can even become a threat. It just fits the idea of the world government so well because it's the power to keep people down. It's to keep people oppressed. It's the power that's kept them on top for 800 years. Because what we saw at the end of chapter 908 probably happens regularly. Im goes to consult the object tells him who needs to be extinguished, and then Im tells the Gorosei what they need to do. So let's talk about Im. He seems to be the literal king of the world, the guy that the Gorosei all answer to, but who is he? I think Im became king of the world all the way back during the Void Century, and was made immortal through the Ope Ope no Mi. I say this because we have to look at, again, what Doflamingo is saying. He seemed to believe that specifically a combination of the Ope Ope no Mi's immortality operation and the treasure of Mary Joas would allow one to rule the world, but why is that? Because someone who gained the Ope Ope no Mi's immortality and owns the treasure of Mary Joas currently rules the world. Because the two powers were basically made for each other. The man who rules the world is immortal, and no one can ever dethrone him because he has an object that allows him to see any threat that could potentially dethrone him and extinguish it before it can ever become a problem. His rule would literally be endless, and that's how the world government has ruled for 800 years with him at the top. And I'll say right now that I believe that this object, this treasure, is the ancient weapon Uranus. It just feels right. Uranus was god of the sky. This object is stored at the highest point of the entire world, used by a celestial dragon, a man who rules the world from, far above. And if we think with this mentality that Im was a man who was given the Ope Ope no Mi operation 800 years ago, who made himself king of the newly formed world government, and maintained power indefinitely with this object that allowed him to snuff out any threat, then his actions throughout the last few chapters make some sense. The first time we see him, he's walking to the Frozen Room with bounty posters of Luffy and Blackbeard. Why Luffy and Blackbeard? And later on, why did he have photos of Shirahoshi and Vivi on the floor of his room? I think all four of these were individuals the object has been showing him recently, which is why he's been, angrily stabbing their faces and whatnot. Each one of them makes sense. Luffy and Blackbeard are obviously the most rapidly rising Pirate King candidates. Shirahoshi is an ancient weapon. And with King Cobra, in a sickly state, Vivi is poised to be Queen of Alabasta. Alabasta houses Pluton, which in turn makes her the owner of Pluton, even if she doesn't know it at the moment. So basically we have, two Pirate King candidates and two ancient weapons. Then in chapter 906, he sees that the object is currently in the shape of a straw hat. So at the very least, right now, it's telling him Luffy is the guy to eliminate. Later on, the Gorosei call Im to seek his guidance. They ask him if he has chosen which light needs to be extinguished from history, and I'm assuming that he's going to say that Luffy is the next target based on what the object or Uranus showed him. I think it makes sense. Hopefully you find out later this week. And if you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, and subscribe.